Okay, this is Algebra 2. It's Unit 1, Systems of Equations and Inequalities. And this is Lesson 1, Solving Systems of Equations. Okay. So this first definition to start off is called a system of equations. A system of equations is a set of two or more equations that use the same variables. If the graph of each equation in a system is a line, then the system is called a linear system. Linear system. A solution of a system of equations is a set of values that makes all the equations true. All right, so let's get to our first example. It says solve the system by graphing. So let's start with the first equation, y equals x minus 2. That is in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b form, where the slope m is right here. There's nothing there. So that means the slope is 1, and the y-intercept is negative 2. Now remember, the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. So the y-intercept is negative 2, crosses the y-axis at negative 2. So you plot that first. The slope is 1. That means go up 1, right 1. Up 1, right 1. Do it a bunch of times so your graph looks nicer. And then graph the line. Okay. Now on to the second line, y equals negative 2x plus 7. That is also in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b form. That's your slope, negative 2. That's your y-intercept, 7. So you graph the y-intercept first, 7. You're going to go, the slope is negative 2, so it means go down 2, right 1. Let's do it a bunch of times. Down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. And I think that's good enough. Draw your line. You got to make sure you're careful. You got to be almost exact on these ones, because you want to see where the lines intersect. Now you can see the two lines intersect right here. So that is the answer. The answer is 3, 1. And you write it as an ordered pair, parenthesis x, comma, y. Now if you want to check over your answer, all you have to do is substitute these back into the original equations. Let's go to the top one. Y is 1. Does 1 equal x minus 2? Does 1 equal 3 minus 2? Yes. The bottom equation, y is 1. Is that equal to negative 2 times x plus 7? Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6, plus 7 is 1. Good, it works. Okay, let's try a couple more graphing problems. Example 2, y equals negative x plus 3. If you want, you could always pause the video and try these on your own first.
Lydia Turner, please report to the front office. Your grandmother is waiting for you. Lydia Turner, please report to the front office. Thank you.
Okay, this top equation, y equals negative x plus 3. That has a slope of negative 1 and a y-intercept of 3. So you plot the y-intercept of 3 first. Slope is negative 1, so you go down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1. I'll stop there. Draw your line. And repeat. Y equals 3 halves x minus 2. This one has a slope of 3/2 and a y-intercept of -2. So you're going to plot the y-intercept first. -2 is the y-intercept. Plot that first. The slope is 3/2, so it means you go up 3, 1, 2, 3, right 2. Up 3, right 2. I'll stop there. Draw your line, and then see where they intersect. So they intersect right there.
Please pardon the interruption. Mrs. Neary, please call the front office.
So the answer is as an ordered pair, parenthesis x comma y, 2 comma 1. And again, you can check over your answer for that one too if you want to. Example 3. These are in standard form now. So the top equation, you could put that in slope-intercept form if you want. You could put that in y equals mx plus b form if you want. But I am not going to do that. I'm going to find the x and y intercepts. Okay? To find the x-intercept, you replace y with 0. You replace y with 0. So when you replace y with 0, this goes away because it becomes 0. And you're left with 2x equals 12, which means x equals 6. So that is your x-intercept. The x-intercept is 6. For the y-intercept, you replace x with 0. So this goes away, becomes 0. You're left with 4y equals 12, which means y equals 3. So that's your y-intercept. Graph that on the y-axis and connect those 2 points. For the bottom equation, for the x-intercept, and you're going to replace y with 0 because the y value is always 0 for an x-intercept. When you replace y with 0, you get x equals 2. So that's your x-intercept. For the y-intercept, you replace x with 0. So you're left with just y equals 2. So that's your y-intercept. Connect those. You'll see the 2 lines intersect here. So write that as an ordered pair, -2, 4. Okay, so this lesson is kind of long. We got 2 more parts. The next part is solving by substitution. So whenever you want to solve by substitution, you want to have one equation solved for x or y, and then you take what it's equal to, and you substitute that into the other equation for x or y. So you take that, and you substitute it into the other equation. All right, so this bottom equation says -7x plus 6 times y. I'm going to replace the y with 2x plus 2. Okay, so all I did was, instead of writing -7x plus 6 times y, I replaced the y with 2x plus 2. And that's equal to -8. Now solve that for x. So you get -7x plus 12x, because you distribute, plus 12 equals -8. Okay, that was from distributing. I distribute the 6. Combine like terms, 5x plus 12 equals negative 8. Subtract 12 on each side. 5x equals negative 20. Divided by 5, x equals negative 4. Now that's great, but now you have to actually solve for y as well. So go back into either equation that you want. Try to pick the easiest one. The top one is easier. 2x plus 2. And you're going to substitute in for x because you already know that x equals negative 4. So substitute negative 4 in for x. Solve that. Y equals negative 8 plus 2. Y equals negative 6. And again, write your final answer as an ordered pair, parenthesis, x comma y. Okay, so we have one more substitution problem. I'm going to go through it all with you, but if it's almost the same as example 4, but it has one extra step to it. So once you do the first step, it's the same as example 4. Now, if you notice, example 4, going back to that, was already solved for y, one of them. This one, you don't have it already solved for a variable, so you have to do that yourself. So you have 4 options. You can either solve the top equation for x, or solve the top equation for y, or solve the bottom equation for x, or solve the bottom equation for y. Now, it's easiest to solve for the variable that has a coefficient of 1. If there is one like that, solve for that one. This x has a coefficient of 1, so just solve that bottom equation for x. What I mean by that is get x by itself. Subtract 4y on each side, and you get x equals negative 4y minus 4. So now that that's solved for x, you want to take that and you want to substitute that in to the top equation for x. So I'm going to write down 3 times x, but I'm going to substitute negative 4y minus 4. Plus 5y equals 2. Solve that for y. Distribute. Negative 12y minus 12. Plus 5y equals 2. Combine the like terms. Negative 7y minus 12 equals 2. Add 12 to each side. Negative 7y equals 14. And divide by negative 7, and you get y equals negative 2. Now you have to solve for x. Go back into any equation you want. Try to pick the easiest one. This one right here is already solved for x. Let's use that one. X equals negative 4y minus 4. Let me put the y in blue. Let's try and make it easier. Substitute for y. X equals negative 4 times y, and let's replace the y with negative 2. So x equals negative 4 times negative 2. That's 8. X equals 8 minus 4. So x equals 4. Final answer, 4 negative 2. All right, 2 parts down, 1 part left. Solving by elimination. Whenever you solve using elimination, what your goal is it's to get opposite coefficients for one variable. Meaning you want something like 3x in one equation and negative 3x in the other equation, or 5x and negative 5x, or 7y and negative 7y. You want something like that. Now, some equations are already done for you. Like if this was negative 10x and that was 10x, that would be nice and easy. But we can make that happen. If you multiply the top equation by negative 5, let's say. Let's multiply the top equation by negative 5. This, I'm trying to write down times negative 5 times negative 5. That's what I did right there. So if I multiply each by negative 5, what do I get? The top equation becomes negative 5 times 2x is negative 10x. Negative 5 times 5y becomes negative 25y. And now be careful. Negative 5 times negative 22 is 110. A lot of times people forget to multiply this number by the negative 5, but you have to do that. Don't forget. Negative 22 times negative 5 is 110. The bottom equation is going to stay exactly the same. So now what you're going to do is you have opposite coefficients, negative 10x and positive 10x. You're going to add these two equations together. Add them together. The x's get eliminated. That's why it's called elimination. So these x's get eliminated. They add to become 0. Negative 25y plus 3y is negative 22y. And it's going to equal 110 plus 22 is 132. So negative 22y equals 132. That means y equals negative 6. So now you have y. Now you have to solve for x. Go back into any equation you want. I'm going to go back into the easiest one, which is the top one. 2x plus 5y equals negative 22. And let's substitute in for y. Because we know y is negative 6. Solve for x. 2x minus 30 equals negative 22. Add 30 to each side. 2x equals 8. And x equals 4. So the final answer is 4, negative 6. Okay. Now, the last example, example 7, solve by elimination. You have to get opposite coefficients. Now this time, you're going to have to multiply both equations by a number. Here, you'll see what I mean in a second. What I'm going to do is I am going to multiply the top equation by 3, and I'm going to multiply the bottom equation by 2. You'll see why in a second. That's going to give me, the top equation is going to be 12x plus 6y equals, not 14, 42, because you have to do 3 times 14. The bottom equation is going to become 14x minus 6y equals negative 16. And now you'll see why I did that, because now I have opposite coefficients for the y's. I have positive 6y and negative 6y. Add the two equations together. The y's get eliminated because they have opposite coefficients. They add to become 0. Add the x's and you get 26x equals 42 minus 16 is 26. So x equals 1. And now you can go solve for y. Go back into any equation you want. I'll choose the top one. So we have 4x plus 2y equals 14. Replace the x with 1. Four times 1 is 4. 4 plus 2y equals 14. Subtract 4 on each side. 2y equals 10, and y equals 5. So the final answer is 1, 5. And those are the three ways to solve systems of equations.